Good morning, all. Today we are going to learn a new lesson. The name of our lesson is My Childhood. It was written by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Do you know about him? Yes, very good. Everyone knows about him. He was our 11th president. He was known as the Missile Man of India, the People's President, and he has a lot of names like that. He was very popular person, isn't it? In his autobiography, Wings of Fire, he explained. This lesson is taken from the book Wings of Fire, that is his autobiography. In this lesson, we are learning a small part, that is the childhood memories and what happened in his childhood, that we are learning. Childhood memories of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So shall we check it? So it's very interesting. He recalls each and every memories. He recalls everything that happens in his childhood. So let's check the lesson. Ready? So we are going to read the chapter My Childhood. So let's go to the chapter My Childhood. So we know he's a great scientist. Who is that? Our Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So he was our former president, and he was very popular person, and he was a general person also. So this chapter was taken from his autobiography Wings of Fire. So this part explains the childhood of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So let's go to the chapter. First paragraph. Let's read that paragraph. I was born in a middle class Tamil family in the island of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. Erstwhile means former Madras state. So he was born in a middle class Tamil family in that island of Rameshwaram. That was earlier in the Madras state. That means former Madras state. My father Jainuddin had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. Innate means inborn, a quality or feeling in one's nature. So he was not that much wealth person. He was not much wealthier person, and he doesn't have much education also. Even though he shows a great quality, that is his born nature. What does that? He has a wisdom. He has great innate wisdom. That is, the wisdom is already there in his mind. That is, it is there in his birth onwards. Then he had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiyama. Ashiyama is his mother. So Ashiyama is very helpful person. I do not recall. Okay, one more thing is there. Remember, Ashiyama also that much not wealthier person, not educated person, but she is very great person. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. So this sentence shows how kindful, how helpful Ashiyama was. So look there. He says that I don't know how many members she fed every day, but I'm sure that if our family members put together, then it will be lesser than the people those who are coming from outside. I was one of my I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. So his parents are tall and handsome, but he was not that much beautiful. That means he was very short. He didn't get the qualities of his parents, that physical qualities of his parents. He's a short boy, rather undistinguished looks there. So he's saying that when he was not that much handsome like his parents. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. Ancestral house means grandparents' house. So he was living in his grandparents' house. It was built in the middle of the 19th century. Middle of the 19th century, that house was built. So we can check what is there about the house. It was a fairly large Pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. So it was a Pakka house. It was made with limestone and brick. So it was on this Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. My Austrian father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. Austria means what is Austria? Simple, strict, and severe. So he's simple, strict, and severe, but he didn't like that comforts of luxuries. He doesn't like that. He very strict. He father used to avoid everything. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine, or clothes. That means he was not a miser. Even though he was very strict, he avoided luxury life, but he provided whatever the necessities are in terms of food, medicine, or clothes. Whatever he needed, there he is providing that all things. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. So he was in a secure childhood. That is, materially means he has having everything, whatever he needs, that he will get it. And emotionally, he has loving parents, loving grandparents, and everyone. So it's there. That's he says he's a secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. So when in 1939 he was 8 years old. During that time, the Second World War broke out. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand of tamarind seeds erupted in the market. So he didn't understand why. Suddenly tamarind seeds erupted. That means the need of a sudden demand. Suddenly many people needed the tamarind demand. It erupted in the market. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. So what he did, he started to collect the tamarind seed and he used to sell it in the market, a shop in the Mosque Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. Anna is an old coin. What is that? An old Indian coin worth about 6 paise. My brother-in-law Jainuddin, okay, after selling that tamarind seed, he collected 1 anna. That is a good amount for him as a 8-year-old boy. So look there. My brother-in-law Jainuddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would lately attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. Dinamani is the newspaper, old Tamil newspaper. So his brother-in-law Jalaluddin would say the stories about the World War, and he will read that one he tried to find out that headlines in the newspaper. In our area, being isolated was completely unaffected by the war. So that area was our area. It was isolated. That means more far away from the cities. So it didn't affect the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces, and something like a state of emergency was declared. So an emergency was declared because India wanted to join the forces, Allied forces, join with the Allied forces to fight war. So that a state of emergency, not a state of emergency. That is, an emergency was declared. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. So first problem came. What is the first problem? Because of that state of emergency, the halt of the train at Rameshwaram station was cancelled. The newspaper now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. So newspaper is throwing from the train. The train is not stopping there. That forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspaper in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as it naturally, I filled the slot. Samsuddin helped me earn my first wages. So Samsudin was distributing the newspaper. So he wanted to collect the newspaper, but earlier it was put in the Damaser station. But now there was no halt for this train. So from the moving train, the bundles are thrown in between Damaseram and Dhanishkodi. So he needed somebody to collect it. So APJ Abdul Kalam started it. Half a century later, what happened there? Okay, half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. That was the first time he earned the money. Every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. So I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. From my mother, I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness, and so did my three brothers and sisters. So every child inherited characteristics, that is from their parents characteristics, they are learning something. So what they learn from the father, they learn discipline. From mother, they learned kindness and honesty. Then I had three close friends in my childhood: Ramanatha Sastri, Aravindan, and Shiva Prakashan. These three members are the close friends. All these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. All three of them from the Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. As children, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. So as a children, they didn't feel anything bad about any difference among their childhood, even though they are different caste. In fact, Ramanatha Sastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Sastri, the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. Later, who is Ramanatha Sastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Sastri. He was the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. Later, he took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple from his father. Aravindan went to, from his father he took the Rameshwaram temple's priesthood. Then you can see a small picture there about the things. What is there? A small picture you can see. Okay, this is the picture. Our family used to arrange boards for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site. So look at that. Aravindan went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. Pilgrims, people those who visiting the holy places. And Shiva Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. So these are the three friends. So remember, what is the three friends, what were the jobs they chosen? That is discussed in this paragraph. Now let's check the fifth paragraph. What is there in the fifth paragraph? During the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boards with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site, situated in the middle of the pond called Rama Tirtha, which was near our house. So it's an important point there. That is, so even though they are from the Orthodox Muslim family, they used to arrange the boards to send the Rama ideals for the Sita Rama Kalyana. So events from the Ramayana and from the life of the prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. So the stories, the bedtime stories which in his family, that mother and his grandmother, they all told to the children are the prophet stories and from the stories of the Ramayana. One day when I was in the 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. An important incident we are going to discuss now. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim and I always sat in front of in the front row next to Ramanatha Sastri, who wore the sacred thread. So what is there? He shows that he wear that cap. It shows he is a Muslim, and he sitting near to Ramanatha Sastri, who is wearing that sacred thread. That shows that he is a Brahmin. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. Could not stomach means could not tolerate. He didn't like that one. That two different caste students are sitting together. So what happened there? In accordance with our social rankings, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. So because of when that new teacher saw it, new teacher asked Abdul Kalam to go and sit in the back bench. I felt very sad, and so did Ramanatha Sastri. So these both kids felt very sad. He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. Downcast means sad or depressed. So now, after school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Lakshmana Sastri summoned the teacher and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. So he called his father Ramasastri. Ramasastri's father called that teacher and said him, don't spread communal inequalities among the children. So he bluntly asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. He bluntly asked him, that either you can apologize or you can quit the school. You just leave the school. He asked the teacher to do. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Sastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. Conviction, strong opinion or belief. So the teacher regretted about that. He apologized, and even though he changed his mind, he reformed. That is, this young teacher, and he knows, he learned that one. What I did was wrong. So he learned from that incident. He learned a great lesson. So the picture is there. You can see about sitting. Okay. The picture you can see. Always sit. Children, I hope you understood the part what we have discussed now. So what we have to do is that you can read the remaining part of the story, and we are concluding this part here now. Next class we'll go with the next remaining part of the story. Okay, it's a very interesting one. You can read it, and if you have any doubt about the part we have discussed here now, you can ask your doubts. You can drop the doubts in our WhatsApp group. Okay, so take care. We are winding up our class here now. Till then, bye. See you again.